I feel like I'm going crazy. Now, there are a lot of ways to go crazy, but if you feel like you're going crazy in terms of time management and organization of your day, then listen up. I've got some ideas for you that will rock your world. Welcome to the Best Years Podcast. This is Dr. Dar-ling at whatstopsyou.com, speaking to Generation X and baby boomers who want more. I'll share power, skills, and tools with you to get your mojo back on a conscious and unconscious level. Be ready for real and lasting change. Okay, this is part 4 of a time management series. If you're hearing this for the first one, you're cool. You're still going to learn a whole bunch. And if you listen to the other ones, you can listen to them all out of order because we're going through a bunch of really cool principles and also strategies, skills, and tools to shift your world around. So we're rating some things here on a scale from 1 to 5. 5 is you suck, and 10 is you're the best. I meant 1 to 5. I said 10, and I don't want to go back and edit. So 1 to 5. If you're 5, you're great. And if you're great at all of them, then you don't need this. And if you're less than that, then you have some revisions. In addition, I'm the queen of time management, and still I have revisions constantly in little places, and they can shift and change through life. So moving on with my cool ideas. All right, let's begin here. We're going to go 30. I've got an ebook here. It's called Time Equals Money. It's on my website, whatstopsyou.com. You can grab that, or you can just listen along here. So I'm going to go from 30 to 38. We've got 8 things-ish to cover today. So the first one is, if you're a late person, we were talking about being late. One of the things is an internal clock, and we talked about that on the last podcast. So if you don't have an internal clock of what time is without looking at a clock, you really need to wear a watch a lot and look at it a lot to get that internal time. So another thing to think about when it comes to time management and being late a lot, you need to think about the other guy. It's rude. Now raise your hand if you want to be rude. Raise your hand if you like people who are rude. Well, I'm thinking everyone likes to be liked. And if people are late, they don't like you very much. And they won't like you. And it's not nice to not think about them. So as you plan your time and you leave 10 minutes before you leave anywhere to plan on extra gas you might need or the dry cleaner, then you can be more on time. And just thinking about the other guy really, really makes you shift and change your priorities. Next thing, it's okay to be early for an appointment. When you have a lot to do, which is everyone, it's nice to have a place to do it. I had a guy that I was dating years ago, and his dad said that he always carries a book and he only reads it when he's waiting for someone. He goes through about a book to 2 books a month. And he only reads when he's waiting for people. Wow. What a reframe is that? I'm going to read when I'm waiting for people. Now I'm not mad or upset. So if he's in a long line, or if he's at a meeting and he's waiting, he always arrives early and reads a book. How cool is that? So have your book in your car and have it waiting for people book. And that's a really, really great idea. In fact, I think I'm going to start implementing that more than I have in the past because that's a great reminder for me. Next one is you're rating 1 to 5 how good you are at this is insomnia. Do you have insomnia 1 to 5? If you have really intense insomnia, I have a podcast on insomnia and you so need to listen to that one. Super powerful. And I promise you, if you listen to that podcast, you won't have insomnia. But for today, on my time management ebook, it says, when I have insomnia, I put a pad of paper by my bed. I try to go to sleep with my mind. When my mind is too active, I take out the paper and write down my thoughts. I continue doing this until I have no more pressing thoughts on my mind, and then I relax and go to sleep. And that's one idea of many on insomnia, but for now, do that. Dump your brain before you go to bed. Most people have insomnia because they have overactive brains. And that's the reason we don't sleep. Even at 4 o'clock, you may need to wake up and write more things down. Yay! Love it. And you'll sleep like a baby. Another thing that I have for insomnia is I have sticky notes that I have permanently on my wall until I've really achieved them. I do this with affirmations all the time. If you come into my bedroom, you will see sticky notes on my wall and window because it's so helpful. And right now I'm looking and it says, I sleep so well at night. Another one says, I sleep like a baby. Another one is sleep is rejuvenating. Another one, let's see what I have. I have a bunch of other ones, but about sleep. Sleep makes me feel younger. Sleep is my friend. So those are some really great things on insomnia. Next one, 1 to 5. How are you rating on this? I don't keep anything in my head that could be in my planner. Now this is as you walk around your day. Dump your head. Stop it. Don't have anything in your brain that could be on a piece of paper or in your notepad or on your calendar. So make sure that you're dumping your brain constantly. As you're driving, make sure you've got a little notepad. Okay, fine, do it at a stoplight. And dump your head. I'm constantly thinking about what podcasts are needed as I look over Instagram and Facebook and I see the needs of people. I think, I've got to do a podcast on guilt. I need to do one on forgiveness. And so it's clogging up my brain. And so if I was talking to a friend at lunch, I wouldn't be present with that person. So I've always got a pad of paper or my notepad on my phone where I can dump those thoughts, get them out of my head. So this is what I'm saying is nothing should be in your head except the present moment. How are you doing with that 1 to 5? Nothing's in your head but what you're doing right now. Unless you're in a space of creation and planning, you dump it. Even on my treadmill, I have my phone there to dump my brain. And sometimes I'll do my treadmill to think, and it's appropriate to create and to think about my podcast. In fact, many times I do the treadmill before I record for you because I've got that time where I've got lots of thoughts, but that's what I'm choosing to do with my brain. If I'm with a friend, with a child, with my grandson, I don't want to be thinking about podcasts. I don't want to be thinking about bills or invoices or anything but my child and the story I'm reading to them. So this helps you be present, which isn't at the end goal to all of this. What we're saying is to be present in the moment and really enjoy thoroughly that present moment and the beauty of the joy that exists now. So that's why we want to time manage, and to use principles for organization and etc. So don't keep anything in your head that could be in your planner. Next one. I use a pencil in my planner now, rather than a pen. Now I say this because if you've listened to the other podcasts on time management, we have a planner in our phone. Yet I always say have a hard planner. And in your hard planner, trust me, don't use a pen ever. And the hard planner is just for notes, graffiti, it's for thoughts, it's to month at a glance and to complement your phone planner. And don't use a pen because then it gets all messy. But if you use a pencil, it's brilliant. I know it's so simple, but just use a pencil. And you might say, well, what's a pencil? A pencil you can buy at Walmart, mechanical pencil, and erases. Well, what does that mean? There's no delete button. No. It's a pencil with an eraser on it that you can turn around. Yeah, right. I remember the pencils in grade school that you could sharpen with the sharpener. Well, today, a mechanical pencil is what you want in the queue next to your day planner. I bought my day planner that's a hard copy on Amazon. I'm looking at it here. Let's see. Action Day. I like it. It's got months at a glance and places for notes, but mostly I use my phone, partly the planner. Use a pencil, not a pen. Things change. Human beings die. They have periods. They go through menopause. Their kids are sick. They're sick. They move. Human beings are a moving they're not static. They're just bouncing around and they change and shift. And if you're working with humans, or if you're working on this earth that has gravity, where you have car accidents and things, which is real, it all moves around. So have a pen and an eraser. Pencil and an eraser. No pen. Next. Say no. No, 1,000 times no. La, 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 la. There's some musical about that. Say no. And I've done some stories on that and podcasts on the power of no. 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 I'm going to say no. No. The power of no is beautiful because when you say no to one thing, you get to say yes to another. Next one, how are you doing? 1 to 5 on this one. I have a weekly planning meeting with my spouse and or family. Now we definitely want a planning meeting in our company, but let's talk about your family and or friends. So if you don't have any kids, you have friends for sure. So a daily, some people call it family night. You can call it family planning night. If you've got kids in the home, definitely you sit down on Monday night, Sunday night, and you say, all right, get your planners out. What's going on? Who's got soccer? Who's got what? With your adult kids, same thing. What do we got going on? When is Knox's baseball game? When does football start? When can I attend your kids? What's the best day to come over for my weekly meeting with you? For your grandkids, you talk to your elderly mother. Mom, I'm going to come over on every second Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Does that work for you? So you have once a week, you plan out the week. And of course, macro plan out the month with people who are revolving around you. This is where you can set boundaries. You can set options. You can say what works for you. You can say what doesn't work for you. You can be nice within the rules for yourself. And it's very organized. I say with time management is like throwing out the pavers right in front of you. You're in the present moment, but you've got a wagon of pavers. So you're in the present moment enjoying it. And your mind will flip to the future all of the time. So when it does, throw a little paver out there, come back to the present moment. And then when you step forward, you're always stepping on something solid that you planned. Your paver is already there. You know you're visiting mom tomorrow. So today we're good. We don't need to even call her, etc. Isn't it great to say no at appropriate times, like I mentioned, and then have a planning meeting with your family and your friends so that when you look at your week, it's planned out. Even your power naps are planned. Got a few more here. No, 4 more or so-ish. Next one. In my planner, I have a page called Issues, where I write things that are on my mind that don't apply to business and aren't just off the top of my head like what I should do for a podcast coming up. It's something like, I'm mad at my brother, or I felt left out at the party, or why didn't someone call me on my birthday? An issues page. Now, who thought of that? I thought of that. Maybe you thought of that. It's a beautiful thing. An issues page. You could have that be a notepad in your phone. An issues page is something that gets it out of your head from the conscious, whoops it over, organizes it, and when you're ready, you can go look at it and take care of it one at a time. You can read beautiful Instagram, Facebook posts to help you. You can go to your spiritual leader. You can sing a song, call a friend, read a book, call a coach, call a therapist. So to get those issues on a piece of paper written down or in your notepad is brilliant. I think I'm having triggers, etc. In fact, for Darlene, for me, my dad passed 1.5 years ago. And right when I met this awful relationship I keep referring to, I met this person. 2 weeks later, my dad passed, and there was the funeral. And so I was really focusing on this relationship And now that this awful relationship ended, then all of a sudden I realized I never grieved about my dad. So today I will have a moment where I may cry and I say, I want my dad back. And now I realize I have not grieved appropriately. I was distracted, and I'm sad that I was distracted, and so it's something that I need to process. So on my issues page, I will write down, I want my daddy back. And when I have times that this happens, I can set it aside, and then when it works, I can really pull it out and process this in a way that works for me. An issues page. Do you have that? Are you going to start? Oh, take a breath. Next one. I recognize that my conscious mind can hold only about 5 pieces of information at once, so I keep what I can in my planner. We've gone over that in the previous time management podcasts. So 1 to 5, how much do you understand that? That it makes sense that you can't keep everything in your conscious mind. Only about 5 things. Everything else needs to be filed in your planner so that you can be present. Nice. Next one. Daily plan the night before. I can't tell you enough how true this is. You sit on the edge of your bed, pull out your planning system, which is your phone and your one hard planner, or a legal pad, whatever it is. Plan your tomorrow to the hour. Boom, you're going to sleep so much better. Or you're leaving the office before you leave. Open it up, say, all right, tomorrow this is what I'm going to do. And plan it out so that when you come to work tomorrow, boom, you're ready to go. And you know where you're at, and you're not confused, and you stick to your guns, and you're accountable to yourself, and you do what you said you need to do, leaving flexibility for all the people around you who have moods, disorders, and lives. Nice. Almost done here. Next one. Leaders delegate. Masters delegate. If you think, I have to do it all myself, well, good luck to you. I love you. I support you in your journey, and I will always be your friend. I will just feel bad for you because it's painful. I know, right? And I know there's so many of you right now listening that say, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. Well, that's a problemo. And if it works for you, do it. Feel bad, get annoyed at people. But I'm telling you, if you delegate something, it's amazing. Okay, honestly, when I was 19, I was a poor 19-year-old, married, and I remember going to the store and buying spices for our house, and it cost $48, and we didn't know if we could afford to buy the cinnamon. So I remember that. I know what that's like. But nonetheless, guess what I had? Okay, I know, right? I took my multimillionaire daddy's advice, who said, Darlie, leaders delegate. And I thought, And he always said, mind your own business, Darlie. And he meant, if you're a mechanic, be a mechanic. Don't be a real estate person. If you're not a salesman, go do blue collar. If you're a blue collar worker, don't do white collar. So in other words, mind your own business means do what you're best at. And honestly, I really like my fingernails. And so at 19, okay, don't judge me, I had a cleaning person come and clean my house. And that cleaning person, and this is when I was starting to charge $30 an hour, I think it was back then. And I taught singing at the time. So actually I wasn't even doing my private practice. I was teaching singing. I think I got $25 a half hour. So I remember paying my cleaning person a lower rate, and then I made a little more, and I had a cleaning person at 19. Yep. And I still have a cleaning person. Yesterday, I only had the main floor that needed help because my kids were here and they left, and she came over and I paid her $50. And in that time, I did a podcast. I think she spent an hour and a half or 2. I did a podcast. I had a client. I earned a couple $100 in that hour. And if I didn't in that exact hour, it cleaned my mind out. Anyway, let me just tell you that was worth it to me. So let's say you are a cleaning person and you clean houses. Well, when you clean houses, you can still listen to podcasts and whatever and listen and fulfill yourself while you're doing that task. And when you get home, you might hire someone to clean your house because now you can rest. And what would you trade for that? So it's a brilliant thing to delegate, to, even if you're not earning more money, it's a rest. I'm not good at cleaning. I'm good at order and I must have things clean, but that's not my expertise. So I hire what I'm not good at, which is many things, even gardening. My son gardens for me. And so it's a beautiful thing. Now, when we talk about leadership and delegating, that's a whole nother thing in business on how you hire right and have jobs, roles, and job descriptions in your business. That's a whole nother podcast that I'll be glad to do about how you become a leader and how you delegate and slot people into a wonderful job description, and there's no attrition when they're slotted in correctly into the right job description. There are so many more. Let me end with this one that I have in my ebook. What's your value per hour? Do you know what it is? 1 is you have no clue. 5 is, yeah, I know what my value per hour is. So let me ask you this. What would you trade for 1 hour of your time? If I said, I will give you $10 if you walk across the street and come back, would you do it? I think most people would say yes. So would you walk around the block and I'll give you $10 and I want you to take 1 hour to walk around? Would you trade $10 to just walk around somewhere and then come back? Now, some of you might say, yes, I would trade 1 hour of my time for $10. And that's a brilliant thing for some people based on where you're at and where your age are. And we drop our pride and do what we need to do. But how much would you trade 1 hour? You have 1 hour and you're going to get an amount of money. How much would it cost? How much would you be willing to trade an hour to be away from your children? So let's say you're with your kids all of the time and you have an hour away. How much would you do that for? Maybe $1. Fine. I'll take 1 hour to be away from my kids. Well, what if your kid was sick? How much would you trade that hour away from a sick kid? How much would you need? What if you had shared custody, you hadn't seen your kid for a week, and you only had 1 hour with them? Would you trade that hour for $10? Would you trade it for $5 million? Would you trade it for $50? Would you trade it for $1,000? What if your child was critically ill in the hospital, at risk on a monitor or something awful? How much would you trade an hour away from that child? Let's just say it's your kid's birthday and you're going to have a party and your client needs you and you need to go with your client. Would you give up the party? How much money would they have to, let's just talk money. How much money would they have to pay you to not be at your kid's birthday party? What if you were having to put your dog down or the final hours with your parent? The final hour. Would you give up the final hour with a person you loved or an animal you loved for $10? What about $1 million? There are some things that are priceless, and you wouldn't give up the time with them for $1 billion, yeah? So as you think about how critically important that time is, that 1 hour of yours, what are you going to give up? What do you choose? So as you have a day and you're going to meet with a client and you need to say no to something, do you see the brilliance of time management? Because I wouldn't give up 1 hour with my grandson if I knew it was just this 1 hour. I'd probably take thousands. Let's say they're just in town and I see them every 6 months and I have 1 hour with my daughter and her kids. I don't think I'd trade it for thousands. Probably 100,000. But honestly, if I planned it and said, Eden, you're in town, or Jasmine, Summer, Cache, you're in town, and I'm going to plan that. I'm wondering if we could meet at 3 because I have a client at 4. Does that work for you? And they say yes. Boom, I get both. So if you can plan it, then you get both. But still, how much is your hour worth if you were just going to sit there and lay down, take a rest? Or sit on a swing? How much would I give up my hour for? And this is what you need to think about as you generalize what you charge for your services. Right? How much is there in here? How much is there? What's your value per hour generally when there's not drama? I started out, and I remember the first day I got a $10 bill for a session. I hadn't finished my bachelor's yet. I was working on my NLP certification and my hypnosis, and I charged $10. And then I remember quickly charging $25 an hour for a really long time. And then I remember the day that 45 just felt good because 25 was like, blah, blah, I can't really hear you. I have my kids running around. I'd rather be with them. And then I remember 65. And I do remember 65 for quite a few years. And then I'm honestly remembering here. I remember then I charged 85 for the same thing, but yet guess what? I'm so much better than what I do. And then I was at 90 forever and a day. I was at 90 for a really long time. Then I popped up to 110 when I got my doctorate. And then I popped up really quick to 120, and that's where I'm at right now. 120 an hour. That's what it's worth to me. Sometimes I would rather not have the 120 at all because I'm going to spend time doing that, whatever, with a sick grandkid or whatever, and I need to cancel an appointment. How much would it take for me to cancel an appointment and not make 120? And so it changes and shifts as you go along in your trajectory of your life and your work. So how much per hour is your value? And you know what I say to clients? 120 is ridiculous because you just got over your fear of spiders, elevators. Now you're over your ex. You just all of a sudden know how to study better. You get up better. You're not afraid anymore. You're not mad at your dad anymore. You've been mad at him for 50 years. Hey, that was worth 500 and you only paid me 120. So I really want to charge. Now here's another whole subject is I really know that if I charged $1,000, the first hour I think I'll do 120, but the second hour, because you need preface information, if I charged 500, I would easily go and take that money because you know what? I know you're going to get what you want. I know it. There's no one who doesn't get what they want with me. But you also, within your value per hour and what you're charging, you need to look at the industry. So that's a whole nother subject. Do you see how big this one is? Because the industry needs to exchange. I would need a different demographic if I was going to charge 500 to 5, maybe 5,000 or 1,000 an hour, which I wouldn't feel bad about based on their outcome. Yet we need to look at the industry and who we market. So much to talk about. So yeah, I have a whole business podcast series coming up as well. So lots to talk about. This is time management today, and I hope that this helped you. And comment below on what you loved, what worked for you, what made sense for you, and what else you would like to hear from me about time management. Have a great day controlling your life, your world, and living the life you create today. Talk soon. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to my channel so we can hang out. Also go to www.whatstopsyou.com for notes to this podcast and learn more power skills to indeed live the best years of your life.